And today we're going to talk about chapters 14 to 26 in Insignificant Events in the Life of a Cactus by Dusty Bowling. This book is a really good book in my opinion. I've read this book and yeah, it's awesome. So we're going to Avon, right? Armless Avon, but even if she's armless, she's strong in a way, right? Okay, so chapter 14. Why do you think that Connor isn't eating anything? Do you think it's just because he isn't eating anything, or do you think it's something else? And also, I wanted to also ask you about something else, and it's Bob, right? Bob, who is like the gold mine person. Do you think that Bob should get fired or not? And also, were you surprised that that Avon's mom knew about Tourette's? And we learned that Connor sometimes spits when we eat, right? Do you think that was weird or not? And why do you think that Connor does this? And do you think that there would be any way that Connor could do to stop it or not? And if you had been Mom or Avon, how would you have reacted to this truth? And also, what do you think about Spaghetti, the llama, dying, right? Because Dad says this. He says, this is a quote, it says this: "I think that old llama might have to be put down," he said sadly, shoulders slumped. Well, what did you think about that? And do you have any connections or examples of that in real life? Animals that have been killed because it's too old and all that. And I also wanted to ask you about Connor, okay? How do you think that Connor feels about eating in front of all the people? And how do you think that Connor feels about not going anywhere, not even movie theaters? And also, what do you think about adoption anyway? And then we learned that Avon's mom loves telling people about the adoption. So we learned the story. What do you think of the story? And do you think that if someone's heart is very kind, then it's okay if this person doesn't have any legs or arms or some other kind of disability? Also, I wanted to ask you about something else, and it's this person, okay? And there was a lot of amazing people in the world without arms, right? Were you surprised about that? There was also a teacher, right? And it was called Unarmed Education. They had to drive all the way to Colorado to meet him, but it was worth it, right? What did you think about this man, unarmed, driving to the grocery store? If you had been Mom and Dad, Avon's mom and dad, how would you have reacted to this? And do you think that this could actually happen in real life? Have you ever heard of the Queen of Sheba? I actually have heard of that term, but not a lot. Anyway, what do you think that Avon felt about Connor spitting mashed potatoes right in her face? chapter 15. So, I wanted to ask you about something else. Oh, and what I wanted to ask you was Zion, right? And Zion is a little, uncomfortable because he says that he's a little fat. What do you think about that? And also, do you think that this murder mystery, do you think it sounds exciting or do you think it sounds scary? And also, a kid will, like how sometimes they sneak a word into a cough and the word was freaks. How do you think that Avon felt about this? And why do you think that this person the person who does it, why do you think that they think, and what I wanted to ask you really was, why do you think that they think that these kids are freaks? And truthfully, honestly, do you think, just say honestly, do you think that these kids are freaks or not? Chapter 16, okay. So, what do you think about the advantages of having no arms? Yeah, do you think that having no arms actually is an advantage or not? Or do you think in the long run it's still not an advantage, it's a disadvantage? And also, I wanted to ask you about something else. Zion's mother's really excited because Zion doesn't really have any friends around, right? If you had been Zion's mother, how would you have been also excited? And also, we go into the storage shed, right? And there was like an old guitar. Who do you think that guitar belonged to? And there were some initials, and there were A, B, C, right? So what do you think this is about? So what do you think that A stands for? What do you think that B stands for? And what do you think that C stands for, right? C probably means Kavanaugh, right? Okay, we're going to chapter 17. So what I wanted to ask you was a support group. If you had been Connor, how would you have reacted to this idea? Would you have wanted to go to the support group or not? And also, I wanted to ask you, were you surprised that 1% of all the people in the world have Tourette's, which is a lot. Think about it. There's billions of people in the world. Millions are being born every day, and 1% of that. I know you think that that's not a lot, but a whole 1%. That's of at least a million, maybe more millions, right? Lots of millions of people have Tourette's. And also, do you think that Connor should go to the support group or not? And what do you think about the boy Dexter, right? And what do you think about saying chicken nipple? And do you think that makes him weird or not? Actually, I wanted to ask you, what do everyone here, what do you think about them? And do you think that they're actually nice? And how do you think that Tourette's, right? Tourette's, what are the disadvantages of having Tourette's? And in these, right? And there's a lot of kids. Here, who would you least like to be, and who would you want to be? Because who would you want to be here? Because you don't have a lot of choices. So, who would you least like to be? The girl who keeps on slapping herself in the face, or maybe Dexter or somebody else. And also, Dexter says every time he sees a baby, he says this: "I'll punch a baby." How do you think that Dexter feels about this? And what do you feel about things that you just can't control in your life? I don't like it, because I'd like to have control over things so I can do what I want to do, so that I can control what I say, control what I do, okay? And also, I also wanted to ask you about something else, and it's how do you think that this support group is going to help Connor? And do you think that this the support group, do you think that would be good if there was support groups for every kind of things like this, like maybe armlessness and leglessness and cerebral palsy where you can't speak or anything, like those kinds of things? Do you think that that would also be pretty good to have? Support groups for that. And if Connor didn't have tics, how do you think that this book would have been different? And do you think that this book would sort of lose something in a way? Okay, chapter 18, okay? So, are you fascinated by tarantulas? And if you're not, then what's your favorite animal? Also, I also wanted to ask you about Avon's random thoughts. Do you like the title or not? If you have an Avon, then which one would you do? Oh, okay. Also, I also wanted to ask you about something else, and it's the giant saguaro. Do you have any sacred or like holy kinds of places that you like to be at or not? And also, there was a necklace. Where do you think that they saw the necklace before? And what do you think is going to happen next? Okay, chapter 19. So, what do you think about do you think that this necklace is pretty or not from the description? And also, why do you think that it was up on the hill anyway? And, do you really think that someone got murdered? Or do you think it's just some other kind of thing? Maybe someone died, but like not murdered, or do you think there actually is a murderer? And also, I wanted to ask you about standing up, right? Someone was like, someone barked back and barked at somebody, at Connor, right? But Avon just stood up. What did you think about this? And do you think that standing up to people, do you think that's a good thing or not? Okay, chapter 20. Do you think that Connor and Avon and Zion, do you think that they should go out into the cafeterias more often? Also, I wanted to ask you about Down and Dirty in Kansas City. We began to talk about those things, right? Do you like because they begin to talk about place, do you like Down and Dirty in Kansas City? Or do you like Desert Moon over the Desert? Which one do you like more? And also, you heard this, gruesome and terrifying, like there was a meeting, right? And what did you think about that? And do you think that it is gruesome and terrifying or not? Okay, so what did you think about Coyote's lines as being a cactus on Desert Moon over the desert? And wanted to also ask you, do you think that there's anything special about Avon being a cactus in the play, or do you think it's just, random? Okay, 21, chapter 21. Okay, so first of all, we're going to talk about Connor's mom. How do you like Connor's mom? How do you describe her? And also, do you think that Connor's mom, do you think that she's mean or not? Because, she doesn't really help Connor at times. That's just my opinion, but also, why do you think that Connor didn't tell his mother about the support group? I mean, if you had been Connor, would you have told your mother or not? And do you think that if Connor had told his mother, do you think that it would have made things better or not? And chapter 22. Okay, so talk a lot about we're going to talk about the support group again. And how do you relax? And how do you think that they will relax? How do you think that the people with Tourette's, how do you think that they would relax? Also, we see, and then the last sentence is this: I had never, ever in my life made a boy jealous until now. What do you think about that? And also, what do you think about Dexter saying armless Avon? Do you think that Avon liked that or not? Well, of course not. Well, Avon sort of like that, but still, how do you think that Connor felt about all this? And chapter 23, which is unfortunately our last chapter. Okay, so what do you think about Christmas as Stagecoach Pass? And do you think that they should just change some things about Stagecoach Pass? Also, I wanted to ask you about something else, and it's, do you think that Connor should get out in public more when it's a little busy too? And Josephine, how do you like Josephine? And there's also Henry, right? Henry, he's a little strange at times, right? Why do you think so? Do you think he actually knew another Avon Kavanaugh or not? And this is really getting stranger and stranger, right? What do you think is gonna happen next? Which is sort of like the prediction. I actually mostly ask what do you predict next, but I think that I will just ask you, sometimes I'll just ask you right now, okay? Okay, so these are actually, sorry. I totally forgot we are going to chapter 26. But anyway, I remember now. So let's keep on going, okay? So actually I am going to ask you what do you predict is going to happen next, okay? Sorry about my mind, it just went blank, sorry. Okay, chapter 24. So, what do you think about the 17 empty buildings? Could you put, if you had to fill all those buildings with something, how would you fill all of them? And also, I wanted to ask you, do you think that they will have enough money to make this park more amazing? And do you think that if there were artists here, do you think that would actually make it much, much better? And also, do you think that the keys, well, there's a lot of keys, do you think that one of the keys fits into the desks or not? Chapter 25. So, what I wanted to ask you about something is the keys, okay? And do you think that they will find the right key? And also, do you think that they will also find a good band? And do you think that the band will encourage tourists to come? Also, do you think that Avon should perform in front of an audience or not? And do you think that Avon actually would be good, with the guitar? And are you good at any instruments, or do you do any instruments? Okay, chapter 26, which I know is now the last chapter for sure. So, how do you like Arizona's weather? And I wanted to also ask you about, about a photograph, right? Then there was a photograph of her with arms wearing the turquoise necklace taken in 1973. The mystery gets more and more and more complicated. What do you predict is going to happen next now? Right? It's getting more and more exciting, right? So we're going to have to see what happened next time. So I encourage you to keep on reading, okay? So before we go, I just wanted to ask you what your favorite part was in these chapters, and then what your favorite part was in the whole book. Also, I wanted to ask you, who's your least favorite character and your favorite character? We don't really meet any new characters, so you can just do it the same as before. Finally, well, not final, finally, sorry. I wanted to ask you, how do you like this amazing book so far? I just wanted to check out on that, and let me just tell you, the third part of the book is really good. I like the second part of the book the most. Actually, no. Sorry. I got mixed up. I like the third and second part of the book a lot. And the first part is awesome too. But I like the second and third part because that's when the mystery gets a lot more, dense. And there's a lot more. And there's a lot of exciting things happening. So, hope that you enjoyed the rest of the story, guys, okay? Meet you next time. And you can just finish the Insignificant Events in the Life of a Cactus by Dusty Boy. She's also made a lot of other books, and also she's made a book 2, and it's called The Momentous Events in the Life of a Cactus, something like that. It's supposed to be awesome, okay? Have a great, awesome rest of your time. Hope that you had a great time with me, okay?